comment must deal with matters subject to the jurisdiction of the city and the council that are not on their agenda. Anyone wishing to address the Parks and Recreation Committee on matters not appearing on the agenda may do so now. The public may comment on any other matter listed on the agenda at the time the matter is being considered. There will be a time limit of not more than 3 minutes for each speaker. No action will be taken on matters brought up under this item, and all comments will be referred to staff. Okay, so moving along, committee member updates and activities. Kyle, let's start with you. Anything new that you want to share?
Nothing new. Well, I guess there is something new. I thought the movie night was a surprising success. Like I thought the turnout was even better than we expected. Everything went off without a hitch, thanks to Brandon kind of organizing all the technology and stuff and testing it for us. So it worked out. And I think if we want to keep these things going, I did look up like what it would cost to get a bigger, beefier projector to make the screen clearer and brighter. And they have some that are designed for outdoor movie viewing that have like higher lumen output or whatever. And on Amazon, they're about $150-ish. So they're a lot cheaper than I thought they were going to be because there's so many options now. So if we want to do those in the future, maybe we consider using some of the budget to cover an upgraded projector. And I think we have audio options locally, people that have like PA speakers that would be a little bit louder. So we may not have to buy anything for that, but just having the bigger projector might be helpful if we want to do them every few months or so.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon, is there anything, any update or comment from you? Anything new?
No, just backing up what Kyle said about I was stoked about the movie night and how the turnout was for that. That was really exciting.
So that's our next item for discussion.
I just was curious if there's an update on the basketball courts. I may have missed that in the last meeting. Yeah.
I do not have an update. Mayor Kerr, do you have anything that you've heard?
I don't, other than we did pass an agreement between the city and the gentleman that will be doing the installation.
Oh,
But Karen has her hand up, and
I was just going to say
exactly.
Go ahead, Karen.
Everybody just signed that agreement. I just had Alex sign it. And so I believe it's on schedule for by the end of next week.
Wow.
To start.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
And
all
does
I know so far.
Okay, thank
And
you.
that's the basketball court. So then the ADA
Mm-hmm.
and the parking lot will go
Yep.
after.
Yes, that's afterwards.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, Brandon, anything else that you are curious about or anything else you want to share?
No, well, not really. I mean, have we all noticed like how the oak trees and Delray Oaks have taken a hurt beating over these caterpillars and worms? That's really unfortunate. I heard that's something that can happen every like 5 to 7 years. Definitely something we should be on the lookout for in the next 5 years, I guess. But yeah, especially since we are Delray Oaks. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
Thank you. And Allison, for you.
I do not. I just have a couple of updates on the agenda items, but
Okay.
But no.
Okay.
Nothing great.
The only thing I have that is not on the agenda was I did ask John last week when I talked to him if there was anything new about the trail, and only thing that he said that he knew was that the design was going to be between the ocean and rustic, kind of meld those together, which is what we had all seemed to we wanted. So it's nice that that's what they've decided to do. But other than that, he didn't have any specifics, didn't have anything else as far as the trail to share. Anything else that you know, Allison?
No, we did have a healthy conversation about FORTAG at the last city council meeting. If you guys want to go and look, Karen has a new fancy fandangled video stuff. So now you can just like say what you want to see and it pops up. there's a link involved,
Okay,
but yeah, so there's all kinds of, so if you want to go back and look at that, but
okay,
that was much broader than just the look and feel, of course.
okay. All right, thank you. All right, well, moving on, a movie night recap. Anything else to be shared? I think it was a wonderful success. I was really happy. I counted at the very end very quickly between 40 and 50 people. Everybody seemed happy. I liked the fact that families came. There were people that don't even live in Delray Oaks that were there. So thumbs up. Can't wait to do more of those in the springtime, maybe.
Was the location of the setup, is that kind of where we would like that to happen every time, or should we move it? You know, if
I
it's
thought
not-
it worked out fine because we opened that other parking lot. I did
Yeah.
ask Karen before the meeting started if there were any, like, were there any phone calls? Were there any complaints? And she said no. So I think that where it was located really helped make sure that we didn't get those phone calls.
Yeah. And if we do them in the summer and we have better speakers, I'd be worried that we'd extend later into the evening and we might have to be more careful with maybe having the screen even facing the hill. So we're kind of projecting away from the homes and towards City Hall or something, but we can plan that for each individual. I was just thinking, I didn't realize there was no, like when I set it up, I didn't realize there was noise sensitivity to the homes across the way. So it makes sense, but we may want to rethink how we orient the setup so it's least impactful to residents that might not want to hear the audio.
I agree. Do you have a suggestion as to where it would go?
I mean, it can go right. I mean, if we wanted it to face like the screen to face City Hall, we could put it in front of the barbecue pit. It's got tie downs and stuff. If we do the inflatable thing, it's easy to secure it, and being close to the tree would keep it a little bit out of the wind, which would be not too bad. But it seemed like even when it was windier, right when we set it up, it wasn't, aside from like getting it situated and then anchored. Once it was anchored, it was stable and everything was fine. So I think we can put it anywhere really. But having it parallel to the wind, having it not with its back against the fence like that will make it so the screen's not kind of fluttering around it as much. But yeah,
I didn't really notice the screen moving.
yeah, later in the evening it was less and less, once the sun went down. But yeah, I think we can just reevaluate if that's something we need to worry about. Depending on the timing of the next showing, we might want to.
Okay.
So, so I had some conversations afterwards about the location and perhaps making something a little more, dare I say, permanent, like 2 posts, where we could, because we were talking about eventually the screen that we have now, all it's going to take is one little, scratch over a rock and it's going to be gone, right?
Yeah, I mean, they have just like
Patches.
patching material,
Yeah.
like nylon stuff for tents and sleeping mats and stuff like that we could keep it alive for quite a while. But I think it's not something we're gonna like pass to our children.
No.
It's not made.
No.
We're not willing. Yeah, we'll need to figure out a more permanent solution at some point.
So it would be interesting to go down and look at it from a location perspective, right? Can we put 2 sticks up and then that way we staple our white, bed sheet or something, something still Delray Oaks quaint, but a little more functional.
Yeah, and was it Ron that? No, he wasn't there for the actual movie night. Who was discussing like the permanent kind of install of a screen?
Brandon, was that you and I and Shane? No, I was trying. So my thing about movie night is I had a couple of dads that were there that reached out to me that said, all right, Allison, what popcorn machine do you need?
Oh, sweet.
And
they got the
and one of them is in construction. And so I responded and I said, I'll bring it up at the meeting on Wednesday. And I said, what I will suggest is that we come up with a wish list. Right. And that can go out to residents or interested residents. I also had a conversation with City Manager Girton, and he indicated while we were at the the fall festival, you know, it's like the city needs to have that kind of equipment. And so if we needed sound and just audio visual stuff, right? It's like, I know that we're in this frame of mind of we only have $1,000 and, if we can get it for 100, that's great for 6 months. But it's like, I'd like us to come up with a wish list, of what you would like. One of my concerns is, it was so successful for the excuse me, that the people were there, that they're ready to go again.
Mhm.
And so what I'm concerned about, right, is Brandon had something to go to. Kyle, you came back in the nick of time from work. And so how do we not only schedule this sustainably, but also what kind of equipment, right? The two of you can't be the only ones that know how to use it.
Yeah.
Right. Terry and I'll be there, one night, inevitably something's going to happen. And so how do we put together a package that we can use that's of ease for all of us, but
Mhm.
also, I like that they want to contribute,
Yes.
and so I love that. The other note that we had on the way home was, and this would have to be a serious conversation with John Gurton, was, wouldn't it be great to have a fire in the barbecue and do s'mores?
Mm,
Have the event a half an hour earlier.
yeah.
Right. And
Mhm.
people come with the idea that the kids have a s'more and they race around. And then as it gets dark, we all kind of settle in. We have, it could be, I don't know, some music or something like that, but just
Mhm.
like a little time for people to just,
Yeah.
have some fun, have some hot chocolate.
I like
Well,
that.
they were thrilled with the cookie. I
Yeah.
mean, over the moon. Everybody was like, what? Thank you. Thank you. So that was,
And they were good cookies.
they were good cookies. I ate a whole cookie that night.
Which
But
don't
I
need to
can't,
have.
I can't rely on her, but that does.
No, I would never expect that from her. That was just so
in fact,
lovely.
I need to write
Lovely.
her a letter. But that could also bring up the opportunity for a business to help us during the summer,
Mhm.
right? Safeway sponsors Movie in the Park, and they give us cookies. They're not going to be quite as good, but they're going to be good nonetheless.
Yeah. I like that. I think even just like a carafe of hot water and hot chocolate bags or something for people to
Yes.
self-service would be
Yes.
great on a cold night. And when we were talking about like a permanent installation, I had an image of something that would be basically like kind of like sleeves that we set into the ground that the poles slot into. So the poles can be removed, the whole thing can be disassembled, and we have like a plastic cover to go over it and protect that. So, but that it would really be a simple way to just kind of slot in a metal pole and string something between them and disassemble it without permanent like uprights in that space. I don't think it would, like hardware wise, or like if we knew someone, or if Ron could help us think through that, I think it'd be a pretty easy thing to build if the inflatable screens, which is a bit more of a hassle if you're doing it for the first time. So
Karen, do you have your hand up?
I do, only because I'm hearing you in the background while I'm working. So Stone Creek Christina
Yeah.
Mhm.
would be a great, because for cookies and food.
Well,
and
that's who
that kind of thing.
she's the one that did just give us cookies.
Oh, I did not
Yeah.
realize that.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she dropped them off.
All
at
right,
City
never
Hall.
mind.
Yeah.
Thank you though. No, thank you. We always
Good
appreciate
thinking,
your
Karen.
input. Thank
Yeah, I
you,
was just
Karen.
thinking about that. Okay, never mind.
I love it.
Okay, so why don't we all think about some things like Allison said, let's get a wish list together and bring that to next meeting and see and really get a solid list, especially with the holidays coming up. Woo! Let's make some presents to Parks and Rec. That would be nice.
should I then just create like a simple Google Doc and reply all to the meeting invite to give everybody access to it? And we can just brain dump all of our ideas of things that'd be nice to have at movie night, and then run through that list next month.
I would go for classes too. While you're thinking about things, if we need something for classes, somebody's going to come up with a
Supplies and-
table, right? But the city has tables and, markers and things like that. But if there's anything else that pops into your mind about
Okay.
what a kind of a traditional Parks and Rec would have access to, think about, I don't know. We would have to talk to John and Karen about this, but eventually I would love to have, a place where you can sign out a set of bocce balls or something, or I don't know what else, but just start thinking kind of bigger and broader than just movies.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah, if you set that up, Kyle, then
Sure.
we can all just add to it.
Brandon, what are you thinking?
Well, just absorbing all of your input on the movie night. The scope is bigger than I realized, so I'm just.
I had-
fully catered. We're gonna have a wine bar in the back. We'll have jugglers.
We don't have to do any of that. We don't have to do any of that.
Yes, I want the jugglers. Yes.
I tell you, I had people that were like, they had suggestions for movies in
Mhm.
October. Oh yeah, they wanted
I
it
mean-
October and November.
Yeah, now that we've kind of run through it once, I don't want to, I think every month would be probably I mean, it's not that much work to show up an hour beforehand and set it up and spend, a few hours in the evening, but we can do it as often as people want it, really. Or I'm willing to, if I'm in town, at least deal with
Yeah.
Yeah.
the setup and tear down and everything, but kind of depends on how much of our time we want to focus on that.
Can we talk just a little bit about that? You want, Terry?
Sure.
About timing, it's like it seems as though it was a fairly light workload and a really nice payoff.
Yeah.
And I love that it's something that the whole family can do. Especially I was not sitting that far away from the kids, and I thought they did amazing.
Yeah.
They did
Sat
very
through
well.
The entire movie.
Yeah.
No, they did very, very well for the most part.
Dad came over once, I saw it. He's like, you guys need to knock it off.
Well, and I was trying to not, because 3 of those kids are my kids. So I was trying not to tell them to be quiet. I thought, no, this is mom and dad time. I'm not going to
Yeah.
interject here.
Yeah.
But I was getting close though.
Not this,
Yeah.
not the librarian time.
Yeah, so I
Do you
said,
have do you have something you would say and they would all parrot something back and they know it's quiet time?
no.
Is there a
I
command
don't.
at school? No.
No, I usually just go very quiet. The louder they get, the quieter I go.
That's smart.
And then they have to be quiet to hear what I'm saying. And I have a pretty good gaze or stare, whatever you want to call it.
Mm.
No, I don't.
And the room is yours.
I don't raise my voice or say anything. And yeah, there's some teachers that have chants and things. It's not like, anyway. Well, I'm open to doing another one. It's just, as we move into this, the next few months, then it's touchy with the weather, but I guess we could plan it if we wanted to. And if it rains, then we cancel it.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm open to whatever the committee would like to do. So Brandon,
okay,
go ahead, Allison.
no, please.
No, so Brandon, what do you think? Should we try and squeeze one in before the end of the year?
I mean, from a presentation standpoint, I'd prefer us to have the optimal equipment to do it. And if we can
Okay.
do that by the end of the year, so be it. But I think only October would be the most practical because historically November, December, January are the coldest months in Monterey. So.
Mhm. Okay.
Yeah, we could do, if we wanted, like a Halloween weekend thing. Halloween's on a Monday, but
Yeah.
we could do it maybe the Friday or Saturday night beforehand if we wanted to, and do a Halloween theme. But it would be nice to get some of that equipment sorted before then if we wanted to. We could use the same stuff and just beef up the speaker, and maybe Brandon, if you're willing to let us use this projector again. Otherwise, we'd have to get the city involved in figuring out if we can purchase that with our funds or theirs to have it ready.
Right. I am not available that weekend, so it would
Mm.
have to be, if you guys want to do that, that's great.
Mhm. I know I won't be that Friday. I won't be available.
You're not available that Fridays? Okay. So
The-
I'm thinking, I'm liking Brandon's idea about waiting until we have everything. And if that's not until, maybe we start in April,
Mhm.
right? And we do, sorry. And we do one a month until September.
Mhm.
And then we'll find a groove, right? We'll figure out, and hopefully we'll have a couple of people that can volunteer to help as
Mhm.
well. So like Bill, I would love to get Bill involved in some way, and but then we can really plan. Right. And then
Yeah.
maybe we can do something really fun with, asking all the kids what their favorite movie is or something, and get them involved from the beginning because they're excited.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that's what we want, rather than, luring them out in the dark and I mean, I'm sure they would have fun, but
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Is that, Kyle, that okay to just push it off maybe until April?
Yeah, totally. If
Okay.
we wanted to do it sooner, I think we could make it work, but it does make sense to get the
Okay.
hardware dialed in. And then we could we could think about making this kind of a officially titled event, that this is like the Del Rey Oaks movie series or something. And we have it's more, we could do a little bit more planning and thinking about how to decide what movie, do polls for which movie we're going to watch to encourage more residents to engage and then show up and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, like it.
Right.
nice job, guys. I had a blast.
Me
I
too.
did too. I was not in a very good space, as Allison knows,
Mm.
prior to the movie. And I left and I just felt very uplifted and happy, and just the amount of people that we had there. And it was just fun. And Ghostbusters, I haven't seen it for 30
Yeah.
years, however long, 40 years. It was hilarious.
Yeah, I forgot how good it was.
A lot of
I don't think I've
smoke.
ever watched it as an adult. I think it was like a kind of a scary movie to me when I was younger. It was like The Goonies or something. I didn't want to watch it. It was too much. I didn't like the dark, dank little caves and stuff and the monster in it. But yeah.
We
liked it a
want
lot.
our kids to have positive interactions with our Parks and Rec committee.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. All right. Moving on, we are approaching our 1-year anniversary of being a committee, which I have to say, when I really started thinking about everything that we have done in this year, it is pretty incredible. Considering, Alice is like, I want a Parks and Rec. And we're like, okay. And we all came together, and all of a sudden there's money and we got to spend it. We got to decide this.
Yeah.
And look at what we did. And then the citywide survey and the park opening and movie night now. And I just think, wow, that's a lot to do. And with just a few people, it's not like there's 20 of us. So
Yeah.
thank you all. Thank you all for your efforts and everything that has been accomplished. So with that said, looking forward to this next year, what is going to be our priority? And I was thinking about the survey, and the 3 things were community garden, enhancing our trails, and creating a gathering space.
Mhm.
Right? Those are the top 3, if I'm correct, from what the.
Yeah, and then there was classes, but I forget where that stacks up. I can
Right.
pull up the survey. But yeah, I think those were at least the top 4. But the trails is kind of where that's 4 tag related things. So we would just kind of let that project progress before we start thinking about other enhancements, probably. Or
Yeah, I mean, I only think about our little
Mm-hmm.
trail that runs parallel to the park that's on the other side of the creek. That's a cute little trail.
Mhm.
And at one time there was somebody that was leaving little messages. It was like a little fairy trail. It was very cute. But I know the other trails, like even across at 17 acres and stuff, that's not really, that's out of our I
Yes.
think sphere.
Yeah.
So
And technically, those areas out there are no trespassing.
mhm.
So we probably don't want to go in there and improve
Right.
them because we don't want people going in there.
Mhm. Mhm. So I think that one for us is really like, well, there's not anything that we can handle
Mhm.
under that one. But community garden, we've talked about it. It's, you know, is that where we want our priority to be? Do we want our priority to be more about establishing a more of a gathering space? Or, you know, to be getting some classes up and running like we've talked about. What does everybody feel? Kyle?
I certainly like the community garden, as I've said before. I think I've heard people express interest in that. And I think that's a really good space across the street from me on Rosita in front of the church. It might be wise to think about having like a survey, it doesn't have to be a survey, but an email where we ask for people to volunteer to, like, we need to know how much interest there is, how many people are willing to dedicate time to maintaining that. So we don't have just empty, planters or dead plants. Like maybe we lease them for a year at a time or something. Like, this is your box for this year and you can renew if you want or pass it off to someone else if you don't. But some way to kind of know, do we need 8 planter boxes or 420? How big does it need to be? And see how serious folks are about actually, spending some hours every week out there maintaining it. Because it'd be a shame to build it all and then it turns into just kind of a, dried out, not productive space that we have to dismantle a few years from now or something.
Mhm. Okay. Brandon, what are your thoughts on the garden or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I know there is people that enjoy having community gardens, and I feel like there's not a ton in the area, so it'd be helpful to have it. I do like Kyle's idea a lot of having some sort of a paper trail or honor system that keeps people accountable. Because yeah, it'd be a shame if it just goes to the decays of the flowers and stuff. But yeah, that's cool. I like the idea of classes and hosting some sort of like more local sporting events and stuff like that.
Like what? Can you give me like what are you thinking?
Well, like ideally when the tennis courts get redone, that would be ideal for me. Basketball, both those two. And those are on the way, so that's very exciting.
Yeah.
I don't know, like if Ryan will be involved in some sort of grand opening for the basketball court, but that's definitely something we can have a hand in.
Mhm.
Yes.
And I know a lot of people who play, so I can invite them as well.
And when you talk about events, do you talk about like you would teach a class or you would ask people to come in for a competition or?
Yeah, I guess more like a local open play, like hey, on Sundays from 9 to 11, we can all play and just meet your neighbors and play tennis and not take it seriously and just, go and hit some balls.
I like that.
And then the same for basketball as well. If you set a time, I think it'd be better for people.
Is that what they do? Like the Monterey court that's right there by the Coast Guard Pier? Is there like a set? Do you know anything about that one? Because it seems like every time we're walking by there,
Yeah.
it seems like, people just show up and then they kind of start playing and.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times the runs start kind of organically and like then they just become tradition. Like I talked to a guy I was playing tennis with, and he says on Sundays at like 9 a.m. they play at the Coast Guard Pier every Sunday, which I didn't know that was a thing. But then like the Monterey Sports Center, Saturdays and Sundays, they play there from 9 to noon. So
Mm.
that's a thing. But these are like unofficial. They just kind of
Mhm.
create themselves. So
Okay.
yeah, it's pretty cool how that happens. It's like, so I don't know here, if I think we just start small and try to pick a day and see who shows up.
Okay.
Well, and I like having a maven, right? You or Ryan as the attractant, right? Because you guys have those relationships already, right?
Yeah.
And so if you start creating a little buzz, then other people will see it and then it will grow. you know?
Yeah.
But you really need to have somebody that is kind of the face of it.
Oh yeah, those two things I'd be happy to be the face of for sure.
All right. And Allison, was there anything else you wanted to add about what you see us prioritizing for this upcoming year?
I
Oh,
think, go ahead, Brandon.
one other thing was like I used to do, I'm a creative writing major, so like poetry, that sort of thing, like a poetry workshop in City Hall would be cool because there's just not a lot of space for writers. A lot of it now is through Zoom, which I just haven't really enjoyed as a writer. So it'd be cool to be kind of in like a workshop setting again to do that.
So I was just gonna say, I like the idea of classes. It seems to me kind of our bread and butter are like classes and a movie night. And then we pick a project a year or something, a big project. And so I think the classes are gonna need, us to start thinking about a little. And maybe we do one movie a month and we do one class a month. Right? Because we're all still learning. The community is still learning, who's going to show up to, teach and that kind of thing. And then we have 2 things a month. Maybe it's May, June, July, August, and September. I don't know, whatever we decide. And then the community garden, I think it needs 6 months of people just meeting to talk about the area, what we have, what it needs, before anything, right? And maybe that space isn't the right space. Maybe we don't have enough interest. But I think it would be interesting to get like a subcommittee, right? Of other volunteers that are interested. I know of 2 people in the Oaks. And maybe that's all it takes, right? Maybe, a little energy around it or something. But I like that idea. The gathering space, I think, is much bigger. I think we could, look at, there's a lot of stuff going on in the courtyard right now that I think needs to kind of settle, before we really look at that. But you know me, I love all these ideas. There's just so many of us.
So I would love to see the garden become our big project. One of the things I thought about as a good starting point is that Seaside has a community garden program, and maybe could set up a field trip and meet with them and look at what they've done and talk to them. I mean, there's no point for us to reinvent the wheel when they've already done it, and kind of see the steps that they've gone through, and also put that out to the public. Like, we're going to go and meet with whoever wants to come and whoever wants to be a part of the community garden, because we do need more than just us to make this happen.
Yeah.
Definitely. We
Yeah.
definitely need several more people that are really passionate and want to be a part of that. So why don't I see, or Allison, do you have a contact for the Seaside?
So I actually connected with, I don't know if it's a Blue Zones or project or what, but there's a group of community garden people around the county that meet every other Wednesday at 4:30. They keep inviting me. I keep not being able to attend, but So there is a group out there that go from garden to garden, and it's exactly like you say, they're looking for partnerships for resources, for, lessons learned, for best practices, all that kind of stuff. So there's no reason for us to have to make anything from scratch.
Okay.
So, and I'm happy to give whoever might be available on a Wednesday at 4:30 to be able to go. Jerry tried to go to one and he couldn't find them, but
Yeah, no, why don't you just send it to all of us and I will try, and depending on what's happening or what Wednesday it is, I'd love to go.
okay.
I just feel like that's probably going to be our best starting point.
Mhm.
Just getting other people to come and
Yeah.
guide us.
Mhm.
All right.
Well,
I-
and the other thing is Denise has built one in a school location, a big one.
Mhm,
And so she has all that expertise.
right. Yeah, very lucky to have that.
Yes.
Okay. The only other thing that we had on the agenda was possibly a Parks and Rec logo and website or web page. I mean, yes. And once again, I don't want Karen or Lee having to add anything to their workload. So the web page, if it's my understanding, Allison, is connected to the city, right? Okay, so then it would just mean one of us kind of writing up something and sending it in, and then they could just cut it and paste it onto the webpage for us.
Yeah.
Okay. Karen, if you're
Like the
listening,
mission, we worked on this beautiful mission. It'd be good to have the mission up.
okay. Karen, I have a question for you if you're listening.
I'm here.
Okay, so because I don't want to add anything to your plate or Lee's plate, if we wanted to have a Parks and Rec page on the Delray Oaks website, what would be the best way to handle that with you? If we wrote something up, we could just email it to you and then you could cut and paste and put it on the web page, or do we need to actually go into the web page and do it? What would that entail for you to make it easiest for you?
Well, we have a parks page.
Okay,
Well, we have an area, a section of the website.
okay,
So what we would do is we would just add whatever narrative. We can add a couple of pictures. We just can't, if you have pictures of kids, we can't have their faces.
okay. So like the one I sent you, we could put on there.
That is ideal. I actually, when I saw that, I thought, oh, it's perfect. It's not their faces.
Yeah, okay. I purposely took it that way. So good. Okay.
Yeah, and what we would do it when time allows.
Okay.
It's not too cumbersome though. I appreciate your effort to save our time.
Well, yeah, you're welcome. But I just, it's, you guys do a lot of stuff for, considering our city is not very big, but that also means it falls on your shoulders because we don't have a huge staff. So I just want to make sure that we're
We
not.
just try our best to get it done in a timely fashion.
Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Okay.
Karen.
Karen, we don't have a dedicated Parks and Rec committee page though, do we?
You know what? I thought we did.
Okay.
Let me look. If we didn't, that's easy to create.
Okay.
But yeah, let me look.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. So I think that is a good way for us to, again, communicate with residents, things that we've done, things that are coming out, and just not relying on Allison's mayor blast that she does, but we could also do that. And I'm happy to do that. But of course, if there's any ideas or anything you want to do, please email me and we can make sure and get those things in. So yes, I think definitely the mission statement and maybe just a quick blurb about, our wonderful first movie night and with that cute little picture.
Your first year.
Oh, and even yeah. Well, we did do the whole thing for the Acorn too.
And maybe that's what goes up on the,
Just repeat it.
yeah,
Okay,
you could
okay,
keep it simple.
true. Okay. I can do that. How does everybody feel about, do we need to have our own logo of any type? Are we good? I mean, what is the thought on that?
I don't know. I I don't think we need one. I think having the city logo and just Parks and Rec Committee is probably fine. It would take up a fair amount of time to like, find someone, a graphic designer.
Well, I
to-
have, my son's girlfriend's a graphic artist, so
okay. Simplifies things.
that would be easy. That part would be easy, but
Yeah.
I just didn't know. I mean, it was something Allison had, I think you said at some point just to talk about, right? If we wanted to do it. I'm whatever. I'm good with either. Table it for now. Think about it.
Yeah, get the website kind of populated with stuff first. Is a
Okay,
top
all right.
priority.
That sounds.
That was
Yes.
actually tied to a larger kind of communications conversation that I had a mom reach out and asking how we were going to connect with everyone that lives on Villa Verde and Angeles for the movie night. And I said, well, it goes out through all of the normal city vehicles, right? It's on the kiosks and things like that. And so, do we want to encourage a special email list for Parks and Rec things? Do we, I don't know how many are on the city email list, but we're always missing a lot of people that, then, are upset that they don't know about something.
But if we do our part and put it on the city webpage, on the cities, have our page on there, whatever I'm trying to say, at least it shows that we're trying to communicate and we're making an effort. I don't think we need to go door to door and put flyers out.
Yeah, I think, that plus Mayor, your email that announces things from Parks and Rec, to the rest of city activities and stuff is, I think it's kind of incumbent upon the residents to stay informed without too much hand holding. And if they don't know about it, but we've shared it in 3 to 4 places online and in print on the message board at the park. And
Right.
If they missed it, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think we want to go track down people, trying to make sure they know what's going on.
Okay, well, I will put together something to put on the webpage. Even just redoing the Acorn article that I wrote and the picture of the kids in front of the screen. So anything else anybody wants to discuss or share? No? All right, our next meeting is November 2nd. Yay for that. If there's anything, I'll be coming home from down south. That's after my daughter's wedding. So
It's exciting.
yeah, if there's anything that you think of, just always email me or text me with anything. I think though, definitely, Kyle, if you could get a little Google Doc together as far as our wish list for things, and let's start really thinking of everything under the sun that we would want or need. And like I said, I mean, how lovely that we have residents that want to help us and donate some things. That's wonderful.
So is that the only, I'm trying to remember all the to-dos. I have that written down that I'll send that out. And then it's just trying to populate the website and figuring out how and when we would link up with Seasides or the community garden folks for a show and tell. Those are the kind of 3 items that we'll revisit.
Yeah, Allison's going to email us the information for the community gardens. You're going to set up the Google Doc for our wish list. I'm going to do the webpage for the city. I'm gonna just repeat the Acorn article that was written with the picture. And yeah, I think that's it.
Great. Maybe we'll see ground broken on the basketball courts this month too. If
Yay,
that would be exciting.
that will be exciting.
Yeah. Have you had any contact with Mr. Sanchez, Allison, with Ryan
About,
about the basketball court? Like, is he planning any type of opening?
I think I just saw Karen unmute.
Oh, I was
Karen?
just wondering if you wanted me to stop the recording, but are we still recording?
No, we don't need to.
You would have to adjourn the meeting.
Oh,
Chair.
I'm sorry. Meeting's adjourned.
Okay, because you did announce when our next meeting was, so that's
I'm
why.
sorry.
Yes.
It's okay.
Yes.
I'm the worst. I'm the worst one to